Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So it is obvious that cheating me out of a gorgeous wife during the best years of my life, when I really should have been married by about 19 or so, was one of the dumbest moves ever possible. There was no logic behind it. So imagine if you're a white supremacist, Jewish supremacist, token minority, just a jealous person in general, okay, or an LGBT person. How does it help you? People are never going to believe that the ideal relationship is magically LGBT because it couldn't possibly be. No offense to anybody, but everyone knows this. The most romantic stories from the LGBT community are not very romantic. You know? Now, I don't want to go too into detail because I don't want to insult them too much. I want everyone, including the LGBT community, to understand that I'm right and that I'm not trying to insult them or something. So as we look at this thing, we have to ask ourselves, how did it help them? In Santa Cruz, how did it help them? Let's start with the LGBT community. How did it help them in San Francisco, Santa Cruz, Berkeley, San Jose, okay, Morgan Hill, Gilroy? How did it help them anywhere? Daly City, Sacramento, anywhere, Seattle, in London, in France. The gays in the church, where they say that 20% of Catholic priests, for example, are said to be gay, the gay Protestants, Orthodox, or whatever, however you slice these denominations. How does it help them? It doesn't, okay? Because the idea of the ideal relationship being heterosexual will always exist no matter what, unless people have lost their minds so much that they're like brain dead or something. They're just robots or something. And if that's the case, it doesn't help them to keep me from true love. But guaranteed, it costs them dearly, and it will cost them dearly forever. If you have any sense, you know it will cost them dearly forever. But to the agnostic who's not very smart, the atheist who's not very smart, they're smart enough to know that the damage that it causes during this time period we live in is extreme. It's extreme on the people who are given the orders and their families because it's the domino effect. It's extreme on the people directly following the orders. It's extreme on the people who are aware, and there's thousands of them by now, if not millions. Drastic consequences. I think that it's so obvious that it becomes a matter of convincing a sexual sadist and a pedo sadist why not to be a sadist, why not to be a pedo, why not to be sexually immoral. They think it benefits them, but it doesn't. Their mistake was beyond stupidity. So now let's get to the white supremacists. A lot of white people need to hear this. I'm part white, my mother's white, I'm not racist, but they need to hear this. No one would ever believe that the ideal relationship is magically and fucking miraculously white. Two white people. No one could ever believe that. There's not a speck of evidence. When they think of Van Damme, who might very well be the most, when it comes to actors, white actors, he might be the most romantic white actor. He's not very romantic, okay, in terms of his character in the movies. When it comes to our conceptions of corporations, military, police, you name it, martial artists, singers, a lot of the white singers that come to mind, I think a lot of us think country singers. There's probably not too many white R&B singers. And R&B, when it comes to singing, is basically commonly accepted as the pinnacle of romance in music. Okay, in music. We think R&B, right? When it comes to love songs, we do not think country. We do not think some old country singer, no offense to anybody, but we don't think that. Okay? As part of white denial is that there's a spectrum of people who are pretending that magically we do think that. We don't think that. The average person from San Jose does not think that. The average person from Texas, I would venture to say, doesn't think that. Even in the small towns. Because it's pretty damn far-fetched. And how obvious does it have to be? Okay. So, you go through the tennis players, the rich people, the poor people. You go through every type of white person. You see that it does not help them to keep me from true love. It plays them out like you wouldn't believe. When you look around and you say, hey, where are the good R&B singers these days? Where is true love these days? And it's nowhere to be found. It makes them look really bad because the main cultures that ruin the world, no offense to anybody, again, I'm not racist, but they're white cultures. Colonialism, white culture. Rock and roll, the Western occult. These are the cultures that impacted the world the most. Communism, capitalism, crony capitalism, Western capitalism, you can go on and on and on. Corporatism. transnationalism, if you will, transnational corporations, that is. Go on and on and on, right? It's like, it's not just the groups. I mean, transnational corporations can be separate from corporations. The ideas can be separated to some degree, because they both by themselves did extreme damage without including the other one. So no one's going to believe that the colonial oppressor and the people who were submissive to the colonial oppressor and the abolitionists who didn't have much passion and heart, let's be honest about this, could magically have a heart that goes beyond indigenous people. No one's going to believe that. And it has to be said, because you're persecuting Christ, because you're leading your children astray. And even after I'm gone, it has to be said. A lot of people aren't smart enough to come to that conclusion. And we go to the Jewish supremacists. I shouldn't have to tell even the dumbest kid that no one could ever possibly believe that the ideal true love is two Jews who are married to each other, or two Jews in a relationship, or whatever. I shouldn't have to tell anybody that. No offense to anybody, but I should not have to tell anyone that. You think Bibi Netanyahu and his wife have the pinnacle of love? I mean, give me a break. You think a rabbi and his wife or something? It's fucking retarded. It's not just wrong, it's fucking stupid. Okay? And you all need to hear this, because part of your problem is you're jealous of me, because you know that I could have the pinnacle of love if I had a suitable helper. But you're not helping your families and your relationships. You know how the gap got this big? You know how it got this enormous, just unbelievably, infinitely great? It's because you people every generation lied about the contributions of people like me. And you suppressed them, and you pried their mate, and you played a stupid ludus game of Greco-Roman, Judeo-Greco-Roman mate prying, where you keep the righteous from an attractive woman and you turn them into sluts, and the females into sluts, and in corporations, secretaries, corporate whores, streetwalkers, strippers, sex workers, what have you. It's outrageous as hell. And with those same genes, that same generational heart, your heart is also part of your gene expression when it comes to the flesh. That same generational dark and contorted heart is something that your offspring is going to have with no way back, no righteousness to purify it. It's with that same contorted heart that you're persecuting me. You have to mitigate the damage. You will never be ideal in reality, and almost certainly no one will ever believe that you are unless they're so brainwashed that, what does it matter to you if I have a suitable helper now? Because they'll be too brainwashed to ever appreciate it anyway if it got out. You're making the worst mistake in human history of the mistakes that are left, at least. The worst mistake in human history is basically cheating me out of my right to lead. But it's connected hopelessly to cheating me out of a suitable helper. Playing a stupid delay game, and that delay equals prevent completely. There's no other way to look at it. Even if the most beautiful woman on the planet, the most suitable, came to me right now, you will have prevented what needed to occur for the human race to have a future worth having. Is me having a suitable helper at an early age, having a healthy child in a world worth reproducing it. And thus, as you cheated God and his son to this extreme degree, which is unforgivable, just completely despicable, disgusting, and unforgivable. So your offspring will be denied true love, true justice, true righteousness, true timing, true heart, true courage, true masculinity in their females, if they're females, true femininity. They'll be denied truth in its true form, true mental clarity, true romantic, moral, mental, and spiritual prowess and clarity, and excellence, and worth. They'll be morally bankrupt no matter what they do. And why? Because you wanted to act like petty frat, child molesting worms? How could anyone be so stupid as a group? How could you come together as a group and cheat your own offspring to that degree? You who do not care about God's opinion and Christ's opinion and the truth of the matter, God's infinite truth and wisdom. It was stupid as hell. Nothing is more self-destructive than what you people have done. Shame on you.